What's up, beautiful people? In this video we will review the latest ASUS Zenfone 9. Subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell icon for more videos. Let's start. The Zenfone 9 may be small, but it's one of the most impressive phones to come out this year. Not only does it sport a beautiful 5.9-inch AMOLED display, but it turned in impressive results in our benchmark tests. Thanks to the Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1 chipset, best of all, the Zenfone 9 goes an incredibly long time on a charge, beating much larger phones with bigger batteries. The Zenfone 9 starts at $699 for the model with 8GB of RAM and 128GB of storage. There are also 8GB RAM and 256GB storage and 16GB RAM and 256GB storage. With the latter running $799, this is the unit I received for review. All told, this is a great deal for such an impressive phones. ASUS went all out with the camera hardware on the Zenfone 9. The main shooter is a 50MP Sony IMX766 paired with a 12MP IMX363 ultra-wide. For selfies, the phone sports a 12MP IMX663 with autofocus and EIS. So with that in mind, I expected decent photos from these phones, especially since ASUS has a somewhat good track record with its cameras. I brought out the Pixel 6 Pro for this test. It has the same camera hardware and software as the Pixel 6, and the Pixel 6 competes with the Zenfone 9. Starting off with this shot of the pond behind my house, you can see that the Zenfone 9 put up a very good fight, and trees and vegetation look properly verdant with rich detail and depth. If anything, I'd say the image is a little too warm in comparison to the Pixel 6 Pro's shot. That's impressive. In this photo of a bowl of fruit outside, the Zenfone 9 behaves more like a Samsung camera phone by boosting the color saturation on the fruit. The Pixel 6 Pro is a lot more subtle and a bit more subdued. The Zenfone's colors are a tad too bright, but it's not a bad picture at all. Heading inside, this shelf of books looks great in both phones' images, but the Zenfone 9 loses a few points due to its harsher warm tones that make the books look off. The Pixel 6 Pro better calculated for the warm lighting, presenting a properly cool picture. I can't unsee the Zenfone's yellowish tinge. Over in my kitchen with the bowl of fruit again, the Zenfone 9 once again produced something that feels too warm. The red tones of the image from the apple to the oven mitts in the background look weird, while the lighter tones such as the countertop look too yellow. The Pixel 6 Pro's shot looks much more natural. Thanks to the Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1 inside, the Zenfone 9 is no slouch when it comes to performance. In fact, it's one of the most powerful Android phones you can possibly buy right now, with only gaming phones like the ROG Phone 6 Pro churning out comparable benchmark results. We put the Zenfone 9 through our suite of benchmarks to see how it performed. I should note that we were unable to complete the Adobe Premiere Rush 4K to 1080p transport test we like to run on phones. As you can see, the Zenfone 9 enjoys a little lead over the Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1 powered Galaxy S22 in Geekbench multi-core performance, getting much closer to the iPhone 13 mini than any non-gaming Android phones to date. Gaming performance was pretty much the same across the board, with the iPhone 13 mini enjoying a lead that is in practice negligible. Every time I picked up the Zenfone 9, I found myself amazed. No other Android phone can pull off numbers like the ones above this form factor. Heck, there are even larger phones like the Pixel 6 Pro and Galaxy S22 Ultra that can't keep up. ASUS really seems to have figured out battery life. After the jaw-dropping results from the ROG Phone 6 Pro, I felt confident that the Zenfone 9 would be at least passable despite its size. Boy, I was wrong. It's incredibly good. In our battery life test, we set a phone display to 150 nits of brightness and then task the device to endlessly reload web pages until it dies. Here's how the Zenfone 9 did in the benchmark. With an absolute outstanding result of 13 hours 13 minutes in its adaptive refresh rate mode, the Zenfone 9 easily earns a spot on our list of the best phone battery life. I am hard pressed to think of a traditional Android flagship that can compare. Not even the iPhone 13 Pro Max can beat the little Zenfone 9. The next closest top-end Android handset is OnePlus 10 Pro. In my limited time with the Zenfone 9 before publishing this review, I only had to recharge it once. It just kept going even with some Genshin Impact and Plex thrown in for good measure. We did run into an issue with charging. However, the Zenfone 9 comes with a 30-watt charger that should theoretically help the phone recharge rather quickly, but in our testing we noticed wild inconsistencies with the Zenfone 9's charging. In the last few years, ASUS has focused on providing a useful stock plus Android experience with its Zen UI software. What I mean by that is it's stock Android like you would find on a Pixel, but with useful features added in back in the day. This meant things like theming options, extra gesture and shortcuts, etc. The Zenfone 9 continues this legacy but with Android 12 underneath. On the surface, you might think it's just Android 12 with different sound effects. Material you in all its glory is here, but when you start digging into the settings, you find a large handful of options available to you should you want them. That includes the smart key built into the power button or fingerprint sensor, the Game Genie ripped right from the ROG Phone series to maximize the Zenfone 9's gaming potential, and the Edge tool which acts like a taskbar you can access with a swipe. The smart key is one of my favorite features built into Zen UI. It recognizes three inputs: swipe, double press and long press. The former is mapped to activating the notification shade, making it super easy to check your notifications or access your quick settings styles. I currently have a long press mapped to the power menu and a double press to voice input. You can also create a shortcut for a double tap on the back of the phone, which I have to set to activate assistant. However, you have several choices available to you. ASUS has been a partner in the Android beta programs for a couple of years now. The company can be a bit slow to get updates out, but they do come eventually. The Taiwanese phone maker also lets you unlock most of its phone's bootloaders if you are into the scene. The Zenfone 9 is what you get when a company goes all out on creating a small flagship. While this handset might lack the ludicrous amount of features that its ROG Phone 6 Pro cousin offers, it still packs a serious punch. Its hardware is some of the best you can get. The phone has great battery life, especially given that 4300 mAh capacity, and its software is actually nice to use. As starting at $699, the Zenfone 9 drives a hard bargain. Other phones in its price range don't have the latest Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1 chipset. The closest is the Galaxy S22 with its Snapdragon 8 Gen 1, Granted, the iPhone 13 mini is still more powerful than the Zenfone 9, but it has inferior battery life. ASUS has proved that small phones don't need to be longevity whims. I like the Zenfone 9. It has earned a permanent place on my desk as my new backup phone. It's almost comical picking it up after using my iPhone 13 Pro Max daily driver, but I am all here for the hilarity. The fact that the phone itself is awesome is just icing on the cake. Thanks for the watching. See you in the next video. And please subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell icon for more videos.